Hello and welcome to today's Is Clinical educational webinar, How My Skincare Practice Has Helped Me During Lockout, presented by Ms. Sharina Balaratnam. Following today's presentation, our presenter will be answering your questions. To ask a question, please use the Q&A button on your Zoom toolbar. Ms. Balaratnam is a highly experienced former NHS surgeon with extensive plastic surgical training. She has devoted the last 9 years of her medical career to specializing in the latest non-surgical cosmetic treatment innovations. Her subtle and highly personalized approach to facial rejuvenation has earned her a place as one of the UK's leading non-surgical cosmetic specialists. Hello, Ms. Balaratnam. How are you today?
Good evening, Tyler, or to you, good morning, your time. I'm very
well. Well, thank you, and we're so glad to have you here, and we look forward to this presentation.
The honor is all mine, Tyler. Thank you so much, and how are you keeping?
We are doing well. We're excited for this presentation, staying busy as well, and it's a good morning today.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
All right, Ms. Sharina, it looks like our attendance is full, so I'll hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Here we go. Well, thank you, Tyler, for that very, very warm introduction, and welcome to this fantastic opportunity, the IS Clinical webinar. I would like to extend a huge amount of gratitude and thanks to you, to Brian, to Alec, Dr. Charlene DeHaven, and all of your team over there in America for this wonderful opportunity that I have over here in England to present to you. The topic for today is how my skincare practice has helped me during lockdown. And this has given me a really good amount of insight as to so much that I have learned over the years, going back to 21 years in my medical practice, and just everything that has happened over the last 3 months. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to share that with you. So thank you very, very much. To everyone out there, welcome, and thank you for your time to be with me here today. It's Wednesday, it's 5 o'clock in the evening here in England, and to all of you out there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me. So here we go. The topic of today is how my skincare practice has helped me during lockdown. So a little bit about me. As Tyler mentioned, I have been a doctor now for almost 21 years. My predominant background is in reconstructive plastic surgery here in the NHS in the United Kingdom. In the NHS, I spent most of my surgical training in plastic and reconstructive burn surgery. So it was during this time I developed a really fundamental interest in skin, whether it was functional skin, restorative skin, aesthetic skin. That really is where my core belief comes from. Where I've now transitioned into is the world of non-invasive aesthetic medicine. I've been practicing as an aesthetic specialist for 10 years. My background is also in surgical sciences, in cancer biology, so I have a really strong interest in those sciences. I started my clinic here in Buckinghamshire. I point to my right because my clinic is not too far away from home. And yes, you are in my home, my virtual office. And I have learned so much in the 5 years of starting my own practice, both as a doctor as well as, I would say, a business owner. So I'm delighted to be able to share with you some of that experience. I love all of the treatments that we have. I love my skincare. It's at the heart and the core and the foundation of what we do. And with that, I've been really proud to share a lot of the results that I have created over the years. And a big thank you to our patients for giving us the opportunity to share that. So I do speak on behalf of a number of companies, and I'm very, very honored to be speaking on behalf of yourselves too. So I call my specialty treatment blending. I like to blend everything that we do in the clinic, because as you know, if it's just one thing, you never really hit that sweet spot to get the best outcome. So that's what I really believe in doing. So I hope that today, I know that I'm able to connect with you, not just on a local, regional, national, but also on a global basis. And I just think this is a wonderful opportunity. So thank you to Zoom and everything that's out there. And I really want to take this opportunity to share with you some of my experience over these last 3 months. And I hope that it gives you some inspiration, and I hope that it gives you some motivation to move forward to where we're about to embrace as we start up our clinics. I know some of you already have. I want to wish you all the very best, and I want to say, I hope you stay safe and well during this time too. So where are we now? We are in this brave new world. So I say that slowly because we have to be brave as we go into something that is going to be totally different. Everyone calls it the norm. There is nothing normal about this situation. And when you look at that picture, what do you see? You see a beautiful woman. And in our lines of work, we're surrounded by people who want to look beautiful, whether it's functional, whether it's aesthetic. Everybody wants to look and feel better about themselves. So I like that picture in so many words. We have to go into this new world and be brave and confident and calm. But guess what happened 3 months ago? This is exactly what's happened. Some of you may not even recognize this picture because it is empty. But this is some of the best streets in London. On the top right, Knightsbridge, top left, Oxford Street. I bet none of you have seen Oxford Street looking like that, Trafalgar Square and beyond. So everything came to a complete halt 3 months ago. The world stopped, everybody got sent home. And that's where we ended up, home. So this is my home when we went into a complete lockdown on the 23rd of March, 2020. I sent my team home. I wish them well. They're watching today. Hi, guys. And I sat down in my garden with my dog and I thought, gosh, what do we do? Everything just suddenly came to a halt. And if you're wondering why the garden looks like that, it's because we've just come out of winter. The gardener had come, he hacks everything in preparation. And I want to mention that, in preparation. So that led me to think I need to prepare. We need to have a plan. So I went back to what my purpose is. And look, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon. And what do I like the most? I love my patients. It's what I do. It's what you all do out there. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're a surgeon, whether you're an esthetician, I know that we have a common value, and that is results, and to fundamentally make patients happy. So with that in mind, I also enjoy making my team happy. With that, we practice what we love every single day. Patients leave happy. They not just look great, they feel great. And then we all go home happy. So that was my purpose when I listened to myself, sat in the garden. Bit about me from the past. And I want to put in context where skincare becomes relevant. Skincare was not particularly relevant to me back in 2005. So 15 years ago, this is me removing a melanoma from somebody's arm. I was in Bristol at the time, and it was purely reconstructive. So I had no skincare journey or experience. I did have a belief in UV protection, SPF. So everybody got that, but that was as extensive as my skincare knowledge grew. So you could say I was your classic cynical surgeon. Roll forwards 5 years. By that point, I had been included in my master's. I did my master's on a laser specialty, photodynamic therapy, and I became so enamored by the world of energy-based devices, how we could use things to actually make skin look, behave, and function better. Predominantly scar therapy. Anyway, fast forward again, and this is part of my new world, 2010. Injectables was a very strong part of what I did because of the restoration of the anatomy, and I did that well. Aside of the injectables, a couple of pictures missing from here, fractionated skin resurfacing. I enjoyed that part of my work. Microneedling, there were energy-based devices with body contouring back then. And again, skin started coming into my practice, but that was still relatively new. We had different forms of topical then. They produced a fair bit of downtime, and that was all I knew. But as I saw the estheticians back then start to produce results, I became a little bit more convinced each and every time. Fast forward 5 years again. So this is 5 years ago. I decided to move out of London, start my own clinic, and I had to make some choices. And what did I believe in? By that point, I believed in topical skincare. I had my own results. It showed what it could do, but I had to make a decision. In a town like this, I wanted something that was going to benefit patients from not having too much downtime. I believed in inflammation because I studied cancer biology. So I chose a brand, and I chose IS Clinical at the time due to a great relationship that I developed with the local team here at Harper Grace. And they introduced me to something, which is your line. I tried it. I fell in love with it. My results came after 5 days. And they showed me the clinical evidence. Everything had a clinical paper with regard to all of the final formulations. I'll come on to that very shortly. So this is S-Thetics. This is my clinic. 5 years ago when we started small. We started with a very tight portfolio. None of this existed. We had 2 treatment rooms, 1 reception, that was it. Fast forward another 5 years, here we are today. So we now have 10 rooms, of which 5 are therapy focused. We have dedicated rooms for facial, dedicated for laser, dedicated for body contouring. We also have a dedicated training suite where we train our patients and our team on behalf of other companies too. And we have a dedicated imaging suite, and I'll tell you the relevance of that. Imaging forms a core part of every treatment that we do. So we have an analogy at the clinic: no photography, no treatment. It's as simple as that. And for one reason, really, we want to show patients their results. And in order to show patients their results, we need to get to a baseline. So in order to understand the baseline, we go back to basics. We always start with the consultation. And I find that a consultation cannot be justified if we don't go down to skin health. So that's where we start with everything. Skin health that we can bring into the consultation, then we can plan a treatment journey. I love planning treatment journeys with patients. We connect with them in so many ways when we can actually show them and get them to understand what really is happening, not just on the top of the skin, but underneath subsurface as well. So that's where we start, in the beginning. In the beginning, it all starts here. So that is my core belief. So in the beginning, as a new clinic owner, we couldn't have everything. So we had a limited menu, and this is a picture of when we first launched. So the bar on the top shelf is literally our core ingredients. My magic number is 8. 8 is infinite. It's feng shui for me. So we had 8 ingredients, and we started off with, I call them my bookends, the cleansing complex and the Extreme Protect SPF 30. And then I needed something else in between to treat. ProHeal serum. I needed an anti-inflammatory because we saw a large number of patients with inflamed skin, with disrupted skin barrier, with rosacea, with acne, and I needed a moisturizer or a hydrator. So hydrocool serum came into play then too. I also needed something for the eyes because all of our patients experience tired eyes, crepey skin, so that came into play. And then we also needed something for the inflamed skin with the disrupted skin barrier. So we had cream cleanser and shield. That was it. We had 8 products. And over a period of time, we evolved. Why skincare? Because when most patients come to us, I use this analogy, we need to clean up the house. The skin, not just superficial, but also on the deep layers, can be a little bit in disarray. So we need to go back to the basics in order to get the skin functioning all over again, so that not only does it look better, but it then is able to work better with every single other treatment that I'm going to deliver at practice. So 5 years down the line, I'm absolutely delighted to say that we get consistent, reproducible, measurable results every single time. So this is a patient of mine, she's 42. And one thing I will say about skin is organic, skin is dynamic. We are going to experience triggers all the time. So this is always going to be transitional, but at least her rosacea is very manageable. We proved time and time again, I've got hundreds of before and afters. This is one of our patients. She's now 5 years into the practice. She just came last week. Her skin looks even better. And we could demonstrate to patients using analysis that just those 8 topicals that we had at the clinic could actually generate these incredible results. So they were convinced. With that came further evolution. So what could we do next? And in the last 5 years, the 3 rooms became 10. We then brought into lasers. I've always wanted to bring laser therapy. So we have another analogy: no skincare, no lasers. It's as simple as that. Because when you optimize skin health and you present it to the laser and you trigger with the laser, guess what? Your result is going to get better and better every single time. So 100% of our laser patients are on topical formulations with IS Clinical skincare, and they get escalated beyond that point. No skincare, no laser, simple as that. So one of the lasers that we brought in recently, the PicoSure, we're just getting started with it. We're coming up to a year, and we got these results that were just beautiful with 0 downtime because patients were already prepared with topical skincare. We could then show them what was going on underneath. They were happy with the results, and our results just kept getting better and better and better, so that when we blend topicals with treatments, these were the results that we were getting. So in long and short, we were convinced, our existing patients were convinced, and they continue to use escalation treatment skincare all the time because we could demonstrate and show them with absolute belief that they were going to get the results. we took it a step further. So with me, I'm known for doing a lot of facial injectables. I love those sweet spots in which you can get results. But as you know, with facial injectables, we can reconstruct, we can contour, we can reposition, but we still don't quite get the skin refinement. That's where topical skincare comes into play. So once again, a blended approach, introducing topicals at the very beginning. So we started off with that, gentle injectables, and then so forth. And if you can see where she looks now, it's beyond the contouring, it's beyond the neuromodulators. She just looks happier. And we just don't quite get that purely with injectables because you've done something else. You've converted the message that she's sending out. So we reduce stigma. So that's really where my passion is. This is where we are now. Everything has changed. These are what our patients are presenting with. Problems with the skin, but look where the hands are placed. Problems with the hands as well, due to wearing gloves. So we're going to be seeing some dermatitis. We're going to be seeing some dry, cracked skin. Look at the face, so much covering. We're going to see some mass dermatitis. We're going to be seeing some issues with the skin, dehydration, irritation, inflammation. But look at where the hands are held to the head. We're dealing with something else. Anxiety, we're going to be seeing some stress patients. So when I look back at my practice, what do we need to do? I know the topicals work. I know everything we do is good, but my team will understand this picture. I always say, think of the 100%. There's 80% we do well. What about the other 20%? What could we optimize and do better? So here's where we are now. And these were the things that I really thought about and these are the things that I will summarize with when I thought about what I had to do. The first step is being acceptance. I quickly accepted as I sat outside that I need to accept that COVID is here to stay for a while. We are in a global pandemic. It's not going to go away. But the first things first, we need to sit tight. We need to be safe. Things will get better. So I needed a strategy. So I started writing pen and paper, and I thought, what is my purpose? I opened the clinic because I wanted to treat patients. I opened the clinic because I wanted to get them well. I wanted to work with a team. And then finally, at this point, I need to also think about my family and fundamentally myself. So what do I need to do to think about patients? So I actually went back to clinic by myself. And I thought, I really need to make sure that they're going to be safe. They've invested so much in their skin. They've invested so much in their treatments. Some of them are already experienced and we're going a little bit next level. Some of them are only just beginning. So it's almost like thinking, if I didn't do anything, I'm going to be letting them down. So I basically went over to the clinic with my vision. And I like these quotes, Henry Ford, Seth Godin, because having a vision is one thing, but if we don't execute, then we're never going to get to where we really want to get to. So when I went back to clinic, I realized that we have to adapt really, really quickly, and we do have to change very, very quickly. So adaptability is key. We could have had an option. We could have sat put, turned the key off, and said, I'm going to sit in the garden for 3 months, but that isn't going to cut it. We have to move fast. So with that change, I made a plan. What am I going to do? I want to connect with my existing patients. I like them. We have a lot to share over the last 5 years in the practice. So I thought about my existing patients. I thought about patients that we have seen in the past that maybe have not reconnected with us for a while, but we were also starting to get new patient inquiries, which is really interesting because a number of patients were saying, I'm getting dry skin, disrupted skin, what do I do? And how are we going to seek the opportunity to connect with patients? So the first things first, we're going to go to our website, our newsletters. We do spend a lot of time, I personally spend a lot of time on my social media, and I spend more on it now. Look at us now, we're on Zoom webinars, and we're able to do these kind of educational events all around the world. And I want to reiterate that silence is not golden, certainly not now. I don't like to think of myself as a brand, but when I think about the brands that I have worked with, yourselves included, you have done so much in the form of communication. The brands that are out there who have communicated with us have meant so much to us because it's given us some more insight as to how to manage this point of time. I also made sure that our patients are my responsibility. So although we are force closed, we need to find a way to communicate with them, to give them assistance, to give them advice, to show them how to get through this period, because most of all, they trust us. They put their faith in us, they've invested in us, and I need to make sure we just don't go quiet. So what did we do? The first thing we did was on March the 20th, just before we closed down, we knew this was going to probably happen. We sent everybody a newsletter. So everybody got a newsletter. We've got a great database of patients. Everybody's engaged. Everybody's really active. And whenever we do send newsletters, we measure the metrics, and we tend to get over a 50% open rate or hit rate within the first 48 hours, which is strong, which is really high. So people got connected. We got so many replies from patients saying, I'm so happy that you're there. I'm so happy that you're safe. So we got to engage back again, which was fantastic. I can say that, I've spoken to well over 450 patients since the 3 months of lockdown, and that has built back to me. It's just given me so much purpose. And my primary focus then was just saying, look, how are you? How's everything doing? And I'm in the same position as them, same position as me. However, with my background in medicine, always treat the patient first. Is there anything I can do to help? Is there anything I can do to alleviate anxiety, fears? Can I help you with accurate information? There was so much going on in the news. And how are your family? How are your friends? How are your loved ones? And then finally, the conversation extended to, what can I do for you? Is there anything I can do for you? We've started a journey together. How can I take you through to get you your results that you invested in me for? I can't just stop still. That would be irresponsible. So I can honestly say that in the last 3 months, I've spoken to a number of patients, not just once, twice, 3 times, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Even just the other day, over the weekend, we're now doing Zoom consultations, and my team will know we had 3 phone calls by Zoom, and that's generated in over 18 appointments, which are coming now. So I'm really pleased that we've been able to future-proof everybody's appointments. I'm delighted that I hope that I can future-proof my practice too. So the key thing is making sure our patients got their results. The other thing that I thought about was, what are we going to do with our patients and how are we going to optimize them? And 5 years ago, I wasn't in a position where I was doing Zoom consultations or virtual consultations, but now I am. And I have to say, it is going extremely well. It is funneling all the inquiries, making it so easy to communicate with somebody at home, whether they're in their workplace, whether at home. And patients find that so much more easy, I find, because they're in the comfort of their own home, they're relaxed. I feel that they're sharing so much more. They're listening, they're attentive. And because they're seeing you in a much more comfortable space too, their anxiety levels are lower. So I find that with our new consultations, whether it's existing patients just wanting a bit of a tweak and a follow-up, virtual consultations are certainly here to stay. And the power of listening is key. When you listen to a patient, you can find out so much more about them. You can find out if they're afraid, if they're anxious. A lot of patients of ours are no longer working in the city where they may have been corporate. They're actually at home. They're homeschooling. They're minding food for their kids. They're minding dependents. Some of their family may have medical illnesses, and they've got to deal with all of that. So anxiety levels, we found, were just creeping up and up, although patients are performing at a very high level. So whilst a lot of patients could just switch off and do nothing, a large number of our patients were going through a bit of a tough time. So by me calling them up and saying, how are you? It was almost like a blast of fresh air for them. And some of these calls even lasted about 26 to 29 minutes. I calculate everything. I believe in metrics. And some of the common symptoms, if you look at the pictures, mask, goggles, if you look at hair, if you look at the hands, common things happen commonly: dehydration, congestion, acne, dry hands. So these were the things that I was listening out to and thinking, okay, we need to help, because you and I know that when you have poor skin health, it affects the self-esteem. There's one thing when patients were able to come out and it affecting self-esteem, but now they were stuck at home. And we can't just leave that alone. We need to act on that too, because one day they will come out and we don't want the skin to go downhill. But some of these symptoms were new. Patients were saying, but this is a new symptom, Ms. Sharina. It's something I never had. What do I do? And there are some things in life, I use this analogies like Google Maps. There's something we can do faster, especially when you're coming to have an in-clinic treatment. We can do the faster journey, because we have advanced medical grade skincare, we've got high-tech facials. However, now we've got to go a little bit slower because we need to manipulate whilst at home. So in order to do that, we need to understand what choices are out there. I love this picture because many, many years ago, this was really a limited option in order to purchasing, retail, anything for that matter. Whereas now, when you look at consumers, there is so much choice out there. And with so much choice out there, if I had left our patients alone, they may have been confused. Where I had started them on a skincare strategy, where we had a plan, if I did nothing at all, they may be picking up the wrong things. That could have caused their skin even more harm. Or they may be picking up things, it may have been the wrong choice. And what I didn't want to do was end up 2-3 months down the line, which is where I am now, with skin health that has deteriorated. If anything, I want the skincare to go up so that when we come out on the other side, we're going to be able to take over. So I like this one. Why more is sometimes less. More sometimes is less because patients need to make decisions. They need to make it hard and they need to make it fast. So I wanted to make sure that I gave them access to me so that we could make those decisions together. Now, this is an interesting one because it's a good one. I come from a world where probably about 10, 15 years ago, I did view this as selling. But I can honestly say now this is beyond selling. This is value. All this information that we give to patients, we're showing them care, we're showing them expertise, and we're showing them education. We're showing them that if it is so much potential in whatever they're using to get good results. So I never look at it in terms of, I have got this thing here for you. I look at it in terms of what are you presenting to me with? And I've got to find the right things for everybody. It's not just one patient, it's not just one skin type, it's not male, female, all skin types. I need to be very purposeful in what I deliver. I've also got to be very resourceful in what I have. And so, which is why on that day when we closed, I opened up the stock cupboard. We've got everything now. And I need to find, okay, with the things that patients are presenting with, what can I use to hit the sweet spot from the mass dermatitis, the hand cracking? We had it all, but I needed to get them to understand the benefits. So we needed to get creative. That's the other thing. But in order to get creative, this was a great time for us to go back to basics. So as a team, that's my team up there on the right. This was one of our first webinars together with IS Clinical here in the UK. This is Harper Grace. And we started learning as a team because we thought, now we can stop. Now we can actually plug in to the fantastic training portal that Harper Grace have got absolutely spot on. And we learned together as a team for that first 4 weeks. We learned absolutely everything. We then also went international, and we could do that by Instagram, social media. This is yourselves, and you put so much out there. So there was so much access to learn from yourselves, Dr. Charlene DeHaven. And gosh, for those of you who haven't heard Dr. DeHaven speak, you must go onto the IS Clinical EDU and her Instagram page. There is so much information on there to learn all about the science of skin health. We learned from Alana Chalmers here in the UK, from Chuck, from Bharat in India, and that gives so much knowledge and information to really escalate our knowledge as well. And the key thing is that made all of us feel extremely connected to not just the brand itself, that was really important, but connected to the story. Why was it created? What is in it? How has it evolved? How's it going to benefit? We get the opportunity to hear from the founders themselves, from Brian and Alec, and that gives a much deeper understanding to the purpose that we can deliver to our patients. I won't go on it too much, but it brings it all down to the aging process, and patients need to understand what's going on with the general aging process and beyond. We know that most of our aging processes are divided into internal and external. We have our biological clock, but that only determines 35% of our aging process. The rest of it is actually determined by everything else out there. So this is really key, because if 65% of our accelerated aging is determined by everything on the outside, this is exactly what everybody's going through right now at home. Everybody's having a little bit more low-grade anxiety. Picture on the right with the UV damage. Most patients in England spend a lot of time out in the sun. I mentioned cigarette smoking because although most patients don't smoke anymore, a lot of patients were buying cigars now more than ever. People were drinking red wine, people were eating sugar. So all of these things were contributing to accelerated aging whilst patients were at home. They just weren't aware of that. I like this slide because pollution shows, you know, what's going on in London and some of the cities, for example, and I'm glad to see those levels are going down. So there were some things that were becoming less prevalent and some things that were becoming more. So this is an example of one of my mentors, Dr. DeMaio, and I think he summarizes it beautifully because he's a strong injector. Before trying to desperately make patients look younger, we should first try to stop them from decaying. In his sense, Dr. DeMaio is talking about skeletal aging, but in the skin sense, we're talking about skin inflammation and skin decay. So what are we talking about? Inflammation, dehydration, immune decline, pigmentation, all of those things cause accelerated aging. And he's got another saying I love: we don't go to bed young and wake up an old person. So guess what? We can intervene with topical skincare. Now, once we knew more about the skincare, you suddenly realize that you can't just give somebody one thing and expect everything to fully transform. In injectables, we call this the active number, minimum volume to give you maximum impact. Same thing goes for topical formulation. So there is no time now for a pick and mix. We need to be absolutely strategic in what we deliver to patients to give them absolutely maximal results at home. So this was a great opportunity to really revisit the full prescriptive protocol. From 8 products, we now have all the products. We just needed to know how to use them extremely well. And this is an example of one of my patients where we've done it nicely. And she's had a fully prescriptive range of IS Clinical skincare from day one. We actually started with topicals. She then goes on to have lasers and injectables. So anything is possible if you understand the potential of what you can deliver. We also wanted to demystify skin myths. And that's really important because we believe in a hyper-personalized approach because we know everything about our patients. We know their skin health, we know their visias, we know their medical history, we also know some of their family, they come together. So it was time to be able to think, how can I get to them? How can I articulate to them whilst they are at home? And that led me to believe 5 years ago, I need to get outside of my comfort zone. Website, e-newsletter, building an online store, social media, videos are key. How are we going to get to them? These were all the portals that we used. Now, 5 years down the line, we revisited our digital marketing presence. And I think that's really key because we sometimes get stuck, especially when we're running a clinic, into all these other things that we needed to do. So these were all the ways that I could use to engage on not just a local, regional, but also national and now international level. And this is what I go back to because my analogy now, I feel like we need to go back to ground zero. So as a new clinic owner, that was my room, my consultation suite 5 years ago. That is it now. And I feel that we need to now not just grow the clinic, but we need to grow the clinic again with our existing patients. We also need to now sustain a clinic. So these were issues that I had 5 years ago, but I feel like we're going back to those same basic principles all over again. I might need to do less of this now because I've come 5 years down the line, but this is what we needed to do before. So it's beyond your doctor hat. These are all the other hats that you need to think about as a new clinic owner. And the key thing is when we're delivering to our patients, whether it's topical skincare, everything, it's being different. So differentiation was really important in being able to connect with our patients. Connectivity really, really is key. So before we thought about our digital marketing, how we're going to revisit everything, we think about the atmosphere. And I wanted the atmosphere of the clinic to be represented with the aesthetics of our digital environment as well. And this is a professor of marketing, Philip Kotler, and he talks about the atmospherics, where it's actually the atmosphere of the place, which can be more influential than the product itself in helping somebody make a purchase decision. So that was really key. So we took that analogy and we wrapped it up everywhere. So again, this is when Harper Graves came to our clinic to launch, and you could see they took an empty space and made it absolutely beautiful. And we really created an environment that was unisex for patients to really come enjoy the luxury brand, the topical skincare. And we decided to take that onto our digital space. We launched an online store. Really pleased that we managed to launch it with Harper Graves. And we did this 2 weeks before lockdown, and this has been an absolute blessing. The online store is an opportunity for patients to have access. They can access things at the comfort of their home, the comfort of their mobile phone. They can buy things in the middle of the night, and people had access to the things that they believed in and the things that they wanted to invest in, which is for themselves. And Harper Graves at that time also created this Concierge Platform. Now, this is a white label space, and congratulations and thank you, Harper Graves, for doing this at the right time, because this gave an option for team members now, whether it was myself, if let's just say I didn't have any topical skincare at home, this gave an opportunity for a team member to purchase the skincare for that patient and have it delivered by Harper Grace to the comfort of their own home. So it takes away the pressure on the clinic, it takes away the pressure on the person, which would have been myself, and the patient would expect everything delivered, which was beautifully presented in 24 hours. So in terms of the patient satisfaction, in terms of our results, it gave a huge opportunity to have that responsibility taken away from us when we had so much else to focus on at that very beginning. So this has been a huge benefit. We also packed in other things, and this was, again, back at the start of March, e-gift vouchers, gift cards. Although we were a little bit quiet to begin with on this one, because we wanted to respect what patients were going through, now is the time that we're seeing 3 months down the line, this is starting to take off again because everybody wants to come back. Patients are wanting to come back, get their results, and guess what? They want to bring someone with them, and they want to bring somebody else on that journey with them. So during this time, we thought we'd make a great opportunity to just revisit all of our brand assets, make everything cleaner, fresher, brighter. So I believe that having time gives you the opportunity to actually just stop and think, what can we do better, that 80-20%? So we worked very closely with Harper Grace, and they created these beautiful, beautiful digital assets, just very tranquil, very graceful, very elegant, and just very in keeping with everything that we believed in. We could articulate to patients what they're receiving, how to really funnel through, the core minimalist treatments that they needed with their topicals. And they really engaged with us so much more than ever before. We thought we might lose connectivity, but connectivity is bigger than ever now. And we have a strong digital presence on Instagram, on our website, on our e-newsletters. Interestingly enough, I was blown away at how many reviews we got during this lockdown period from patients who were really happy with their at-home regimes. And I'll come to that in a very second. Another thing that we did, apart from the telephone calls, I can't stress the telephone calls, they've been an absolute bonus, is we also organize patient education events. We love doing this, we're very well known for it, and my team and I enjoy running these to educate, engage, and empower patients. So this is us 5 years ago when we launched the clinic. That is our town crier. He's been our town crier in Buckinghamshire for 50 years, and he launched it. So every year we have an event. It's a great way for patients to come in, as well as our suppliers. But this is me. 3 months ago, I did it digitally. We had no choice, but I thought, let's not stop. Let's deliver. Our patients were expecting a party. We couldn't have one, so we took it digital, and it was fantastic. We had a huge engagement. Everybody was exciting. We produced 8 hours of content, and in those 8 hours, we kept getting emails, we get text messages, WhatsApp messages, and we had so much engagement. We had content which was not live. The content had all been prepared before. We just did not have an opportunity, because when you go so fast in the clinic, to share all the content that we had. And this gave us an opportunity to do that with Dr. DeHaven, with Francesca White, everybody that we worked very closely with here in the UK. And the feedback was strong. Some patients were even on for the whole 8 hours, some for 4, some for 6. And as a result of that, we did it again. So we did 2 of those patient education events in the last 3 months. Social media, I cannot stress. We probably didn't do it many years ago, whereas now you have to be in this space. This is where all of our patients are. Patients want to receive the latest news at a swipe, at a flick, and it's a great opportunity to engage with them and build a community around that. Patients just may not know what the right thing is, so it's an opportunity to be in that space. And this is some of our marketing initiatives on our social media. I don't like to use the word marketing initiatives so much, because we try and engage, we try and connect, we try and build value to our patients by sharing with them some of the information. And as a result, I feel like we have our own cult following now. That's Joey up there. She actually shared our new Soothe and Smooth facial. Patients on the left, mom and daughter, who just wanted to share how grateful they were in terms of their results. So with that, we had 2 new marketing initiatives.
And I just feel like my skin is lit from behind, no filters needed. So I highly recommend this clinic, and they really know what they're talking about.
What I loved about Sharina's approach was that she was integrating a very mindful, holistic technique into an otherwise very medical treatment.
So that is all brand new. And having a pause gave us the opportunity to look back at those videos and say, how can we present them better? How can patients access them better? So just with those 2 videos alone, we only just did that last week. They will go on our website, they'll go on newsletters, they'll go on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, social media, all of those. Everything is accessible and it's all free. And I love videos because patients buy stories. The hero in the clinic is not me. The hero in the clinic is the patient. That is who we celebrate, and that is what it's all about. So we want our patients to hear from other patients, because right now, patients more than ever want to look good, feel great. I call this the lipstick effect. So even at a time of crisis, people still want to look and feel great. Whilst they may not be able to afford, maybe, we should never assume, the most expensive thing or everything else, they can certainly afford a really good topical skincare to make them look and feel great. So with that, we have new product launches that we've been able to share with our patients at this time, like the lip products for their dry skin. We've been able to launch a brand new at-home facial menu as well. And we've had 2 facial treatments that we've been able to launch, the warm-up cool down and the soothe and smooth. And please do contact your teams locally to hear all about that. And with that, we didn't even have to worry about how we could be educated, because all the education came live from online, live from Instagram. And we developed huge amounts of collaborative partnerships with local influencers, with other product companies as well. We could share our knowledge through so many different portals. I was invited by colleagues to present on a global basis, and this gave us so much more value to what we could share with our patients. We could get them results. That was really what they came for. We got them results back then. We took the opportunity to get them results back now. And the key thing is also demystifying what we could do. We could show them where we are, what we stand for, maybe demystify some of the things that they weren't quite sure about. So in summary, 3 months later, I think to myself, has this all been worth it? Has this all worked? And I want to say before I say it was successful or unsuccessful, failure does not mean you were unsuccessful. If we learn nothing from all of this, then it's pointless. So I've learned so much from this whole process. Has it worked? Yes. We have a brand new e-commerce store. It is fully functioning. So thank you to Alana and all the team at Harper Grace for assisting us with that. We've also got stronger internal product sales from the over 450 patients that I've spoken to over the last 3 months. As a result of that, 96% of our patients have completely rebooked. So they're rebooked from the 4th of July onwards. 4th of July is when we're planning on reopening. And the most important thing, everyone's getting results. Everyone's getting results that they're sharing with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And another key part for me is 100% of my team are back with me, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. As part of the Harper Grace initiative, we won their e-commerce store for April, and we were able to give back. This is George. George is our postman in Beaconsfield. He does everything. He is absolutely everywhere. We were able to gift him with £400 of beautiful Eyes Clinical skincare. Asked him if he was going to share it with his wife. He said no, he's going to keep it for himself. Well done, George. So I urge all of you, find your voice. I know all of you are amazing out there. We share a common goal, which is results. Find a way to connect and just get your message out there with your audience. They will want to hear from you. If you haven't done so already, do it now. I believe in another thing, begin anywhere, but don't push yourself too much. Just remember, be kind to yourself. Start at your own pace. Enjoy the ride. You will enjoy it. And for me, it was just being accountable to our patients, being accountable to our team, being accountable to myself, because we get confused. Our patients can be confused by aesthetics. They can be curious about aesthetics. They can be consumed about it. So this is all a good thing. Our job is to make sure they get to their goals, and that's our responsibility. So now, everybody, as we head into the 4th of July, the lockdown is lifting. Now we need to be prepared, and I need to share that with our patients so that they feel reassured, comfortable, and confident as they come back with us. So this is the video that we shared with everybody just this week. It's pretty key that we incorporate aesthetics as part of this preparation phase. I get to be here to present to you all today. So here I am. This was a picture taken this morning. 3 months has now passed. And as you can see on the right, this is this morning. Everything has flourished. I've spent more time hydrating the garden, and I've been fertilizing it with its own version of topical vitamin C. It's had its own version of ProHeal Serum and HydroCool and a lot of Extreme Protect. And it's absolutely green, and I love being there. So in summary, everybody, now is the time not to be silent. Now is the time to get inspired, activated, and motivated to work with your teams, work with your community, work with your partner suppliers, and work with your patients. I believe in preparation. I believe in inspiration. This is one of my inspirations, and I hope you enjoy it too. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all of the team over at Eyes Clinical in America. It has been an absolute pleasure and an absolute wonderful journey. Brian, Alec, Dr. DeHaven, Matt, Molly, Tyler, Alana, Catherine, all of you, thank you so much. And also to my team, I wouldn't be where I am here without you, and certainly you bring fantastic results to our patients. I look forward to receiving your questions. And again, I wish you all safe health, be well, and all the best in starting your practices. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Sharina. What a beautiful presentation. And thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and everything that you offered to your patients during this time. I think there are so many takeaways from it. I must say for me, I saw that garden and how green it is. I could tell you I did not achieve that during this, this 3-month period. Mine does not look that good. But I do want to let you know during the video, because of the volume, it canceled out your voice. I don't know if you want to quickly go over some of the things that you were saying while the video was playing quickly.
Apologies for that. Yes, absolutely. So Tyler, the key thing about the video is it captures patients quickly. You can engage with somebody who's either new, not familiar with you and your clinic, or someone who's brand new as well, because it shows somebody that you are getting prepared. Don't wait till you're already open. Show somebody all the steps that you're doing now in preparation for that reopening, because that engages them with you, because a lot of patients out there may not be familiar with what is needed in a clinic type environment to make them safe. So show them what a HEPA filter looks like. Show them what you are going to look like in a mask. Show them all the steps that you're making to ensure the chip and pin terminal is going to be safe, how you're going to allocate the waiting time between appointments, how you're going to manage their appointments, how you're going to optimize everything within that clinical space. So I believe the video is really key as a point of communication, and don't wait till the end. If you haven't opened your clinics already, show them anything. You know, the beauty about having a smartphone is that it's smart. You can take a picture, you can take a little video, 60 seconds in your clinic and show them a before and after, anything, just show them.
That's lovely. And it's neat how during this period we've been able to utilize so much of technology. And I would be interested, I'm not sure if I know you are very analytical. So I wonder, have you pulled the information of like what was like from emails to newsletters to social media, where you saw the most engagement?
Wow. Across the lot, as I said, Tyler, with our newsletters, we get a very big hit rate. A few years ago, everybody had to almost eliminate their database and go back to the scratch, shall I say, because of something called GDPR. It's just something that we had to do from a government regulatory point of view. And that was bad. We lost our whole database. However, what that actually meant was that we could capture information from our active patients within the clinic. So for the last 3 years, we've been doing that. And guess what? Now we actually have active patients who are actually opening up our newsletters. So we get up to a 50% plus hit rate, open rate in a 48-hour period with our newsletters. So that is a really strong form of engagement that we can get. And we released about 5 newsletters during the last 10 weeks. And we got a lot of information through. So that was number 1, I would say. Number 2 is our Instagram. Our Instagram page gets a lot of interaction with our patients. People write comments, people leave messages. We get a lot of direct messages and DMs through that as well. So Instagram's been really key. And I really enjoy connecting on a professional level with my colleagues and with my doctors, surgeons, and other colleagues from all around the world, my partner suppliers, not just here in England, but beyond. And I spend a lot of time on the LinkedIn platform just so that I can gauge on that level as well. So that's been a really key part of what I do too.
Wow, that open rate is incredible. We do have a question that came in, and they thanked you for the wonderful webinar. And they asked, in lockdown, what has been your most go-to product from Is Clinical and why?
Oh gosh, well, if you want to see what I have right now, this is my all-time go-to, and I'm showing you my copper firming mist because it really has been my go-to. I've been spending a lot of time on Zoom consultations and front-facing with patients on this level, and also delivering webinars myself. So if you're asking me what has been my literal go-to because it's on my desk, then I'm going to say my copper firming mist. It keeps me fresh, it keeps me hydrated, it's great for sebum regulation, so I recommend that to all of our patients, and I recommend that as a go-to for all my corporate patients who are even here front-facing their own colleagues, their own Zoom consultations, for their own Zoom webinars themselves, for sometimes up to 8 to 12 hours a day. So I know that a lot of my corporate patients are actually sat there with some copper firming mist. And then this is going to sound really bizarre, like I have all your things here, but dry hands and dry faces has been a really key part because we're using a lot more alcohol hand wash than ever before, Tyler. And I think it's really key to prevent dryness and cracked hands and to keep the immune defense of the skin there keeping really well. So again, I have your shield balm here. Sorry, this sounds like sales and advertising, and it really isn't. But it just goes to show that skincare and topicals, where it works and where it creates change and difference, it just becomes part of your life, and you become it and it becomes you. So I know a lot of patients that sit with their skincare, they carry it around in their handbag. So those are the two things that I have here, which I know a lot of our patients do have as well. Another thing that they have taken home with them are the at-home facials. They have been an absolute star in assisting the whole escalation process whilst we're unable to get hold of patients in our clinical chairs. So the at-home facials have been really key. Saima, my reception team, actually said that one of the patients contacted her today just to say the at-home facials have been absolutely key in helping her keep her result while she's been away from the clinic in the last 3 months.
Thank you, Ms. Sharina. The next question said, have you found patients' skin concerns have changed during lockdown?
Yes, I have. They presented with a few key things. The main one initially, Tyler, was breaking out. Most patients said that. I can honestly say I felt that for myself too. And whilst everyone was at home, whether they're a mom with 2 or 4 kids, or whether they're a corporate patient, male or female, most patients were actually saying, I'm just getting more breakouts, more congestion, more blackheads, more acne, all of that. And whether you like it or not, there is always going to be this low-grade anxiety that presents itself during this form of pandemic. Everybody was going through it. And with a low-grade anxiety comes a release of cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that's produced by the adrenal glands. These are tiny little glands that sit on top of our kidneys, and they release the stress hormone. They release cortisol. Cortisol produces an increase of oil production in our skin. So where we already have an increase of oil production due to predisposed acne, predisposed skin conditions, inflammation, all of a sudden you're getting this increased output of cortisol, oil in the skin. So most patients were starting to break out. So we needed to get on top of that by optimizing their skin regime. For those who were not on our skin regimes, we needed to get them onto the right topicals. The cleansing complex with the topical that contained the glycolic acid, the salicylic acid, just so that they had a great cleanser to help them during this period. They also needed to be an anti-inflammatory, so something like the Pro Heal serum was perfect for that. And then for a number of patients that were also then experiencing a lot of pigmentation. So our weather here, believe it or not, Tyler, got incredible over the last 2 months. So with increasing amounts of sunshine, more and more patients were spending more time out in the garden. So they were experiencing problems with pigmentation getting out of control. So we had to optimize the regimes that they were already on. So where they may have started with a cleansing complex and pro-heal regime, we then had to step it up to the white lightning strategies. So the white lightning strategies came in really nicely on top of that as the weather in England got really nice and bright. So it was really good to see that with everything that patients presented, whether it was an increasing oil production, whether it was acne, whether it's pigmentation, brightening, and then at the end of the spectrum, there was also dehydration. We got a lot of dehydration. And then we had your shield, we had your hydrocool, we had reparative moisture emulsion. See, I know these things so well, even more now because of all the education. We were able to flip that education to the patient, explain what was required, and then give them what they were looking for during what I call this acute phase. So everything we could manage, and we could manage well. And the key thing is really going back to the fundamentals, going back to the formulations. When, as a clinic owner, Tyler, we first start and then we go fast. If it's not the topicals, I need to know about injectables, lasers, everything. This has been a great opportunity, the pause, just to go back to the basics and learn it all over again and learn even more. We've learned so much. And to be able to give patients those results now, very satisfying. They're happy.
Well, Miss Sharina, I can't thank you enough. I'm sure everyone on this call has taken notes and will implement this into their practices and with their clients and patients around the world. So we thank you. For each of you who have attended today, I would like to announce that Miss Sharina will be with us once again on June 24th for her conversation on treatment blending. So we look forward to seeing you again on June 24th, Ms. Sharina. We'd also like to let everybody know that this presentation, as well as all of the other webinars that have been hosted through Zoom, will be available on the isclinical.edu.com website under the webinar section. Ms. Sharina, you have a lovely evening. I can't thank you enough. Thank you to all of our attendees today. We hope you all have a great afternoon or great evening.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, everybody.